Yeah, I've done it again. I bought another car. This is the problem with me sitting in front of the auctions for Copart and thinking, yeah, that looks like a bargain, not properly researching it beforehand and just doing an impulse buy. So let's see what we've got. So welcome back to the channel and welcome to the start of another series on another vehicle. So behind me we have a 2009 Ford Ka, category N this time, so non-structural, repairable. As you can see, bit of damage on the front and missing a front bumper. So I wasn't planning on buying this car either. I just literally was sat there with the auction running. I was looking at a Mark 1 TT, which was a category N and just needed a rear windscreen in a convertible roof, but it went a bit too high. And just before that car went through and I decided I wasn't going to buy it, this popped up and it was at £550. I thought, oh, I'll bang 25 quid on it and see what happens. And yet won it for £575. So I did a quick look while the auction was running, brought up the MOT history and had a quick sort of scan through the photos. So this has done 67,000 miles. MOTs, the last couple of MOTs were really good. No advisories if I remember correctly, but I might need to double check that now. So yeah, let's have a look and see what we've bought, because this is the same chassis as the Fiat 500. Now, when I bought the replacement slam panel for the Fiat 500, I got some spare bits which were literally down the side of the unit. I was going to send off to the scrappy, quickly ran out and checked they were still there. So this crash panel here, I have one literally sat in my office to replace with that. And we need to buy a couple of extra bits. So on all the photos of this car from Copart, there was no picture of the front bumper at all. So the assumption was that the bumper was gone, completely smashed and been chucked. Got the car delivered today, and I wasn't in work today, so it was delivered by James from Icon Automotive. And don't know if you can see through the dirt there, there's a bumper in the boot. So I'm kind of hoping that it is trashed because I've already committed to buy one. So let's have a look around and see what we've bought. So what have we bought? Ka 1.2 Z-Tech edition. So you get alloy wheels, one with a scuff. Quite a nice interior. Got the red and sort of the dark grey, the white accents on the dash. Multi-function steering wheel, which I couldn't see from the photos, but that's quite a nice little addition there. Air conditioning, electric windows, so it's a really high spec model. Let's have a look at this bumper. So I haven't taken this out, I'm literally seeing the car as you're seeing the car in the video. Let me get this out if I can. So I think that's been in there for a little while because this bumper is now quite heavily distorted. And there's the big brunt of the accident damage. So I'm not too fussed that I've actually managed to source another bumper. However, had I known that this had the fog lights in it and they're both undamaged, I'd have probably just tried to source the frame. Let's have a look at the front grille. So it's got some damage on the bottom of the front grille, so that's all split. So we can assume that can go in the bin as well. And the badge at the top, that's seen better days, so we will need to replace that as well. So the bumper I've got, it's the wrong colour, but it is complete with no damage other than a little scuff at the bottom, so we'll get that. I'm picking it up tomorrow. Looks like we also have a set of seat covers, so you would assume that they've been on the seats and kept them in fairly good condition. I say all the seats did look pretty good from the photos. What else do we have? Oh, so we've got space saver, I believe. Yeah, space saver spare with all the tools. Let's check the little hidden compartment underneath the seat. What we got in here? Locking wheel nut. Another little bonus there, because if you've watched the Renault Clio video, but that didn't come with a locking wheel nut. So we'll pop that back in here. No documentation though yet, so let's have a look. No, it's quite rare with these cars that you actually get the documentation, because a lot of things like that might get taken out after the accident. Yeah, not too bad. You'll notice that there's this bit of trim here, and that is from the driver's side, and it covers the ODB port, so it's possible that somebody's plugged the ODB port in there, maybe the insurance company, just to run a diagnostic on it or just to check it out. But yeah, again, other than being full of dirt and covered in bird poo, it's not too bad. So there's a little ding just here on the bonnet, so we'll get our paintless dent guy to pull that out. Let's have a look at what damage we've got on the front. So we've got the impact bar, we need to replace that. Lower impact bar, that's got a bit of a twist on it, so we'll get that replaced. And the radiator, which looks to be, yeah, if you look down here, the brackets where the radiator sits into the slam panel, they're broken. So we need a rad pack, a lower impact bar. I've already got the upper impact bar. We need the bumper, which I'll pick up tomorrow, as I said earlier. And then the only other thing that I've noticed on this car, where's the key? There. The only other thing I've noticed on this is when you start it, it sounds like the starter motor needs replacing. So if I start that now, yeah, that's definitely going to need a new starter motor. But yeah, as a, you know, new project, this one shouldn't be too bad to work on. So we're going to get the parts all together. I'm going to try and make this quite a quick series on the KA, and the reason behind that is I think I've already sold it. So one of my friends, he's basically got his youngest daughter is getting up to the point where she needs a car. She basically had the requirement that she wanted quite a funky interior, something a bit different, and when I sent the photos through showing the red and the dark grey or black interior with the white bits on the dash, on the basis that we can kind of fit it to a budget, she's happy to take this on. So it could be quite a nice quick flip video for me. Well, one thing we haven't checked, do we get a free CD? Oh yeah, there's a CD. So let's have a look. What have we got? Now that's what I call music. 100 hits from 100 nows. So, free CD. So everything else, when the car's running, I'll just show you. We've got no warning lights on the dash, which is really good. Oh, the boot's open, so that's coming up. Half a tank of fuel, another little bonus there. The AC does work, but obviously that radiator is a bit questionable, so we'll turn that off. And it's got heated front windscreen and heated rear windscreen, which is really, really good. I say it runs and idles really nicely. Let's have a look under the bonnet. So obviously had a new battery at some point. Idles beautifully. I already checked the oil, and I always check the oil and the coolant level before I move the car or start it. That's all absolutely fine. The oil's probably slightly high, but we can just get an oil service done on this because we've got no service history. What I will do is I'll ring round the Ford dealership. That is actually on the number plate, so that's always a good starting point if you're trying to track down some history. So we'll check out the main Ford dealer and see if they've got any kind of reference to it. Exhaust isn't blowing, and I say we've tried all the gearbox, that goes through the gears nicely, clutch is in the right position, so potentially this could be, as I said before, quite a nice little quick flip. And the only thing that will actually slow down the sale is just how long it takes to get the bumper resprayed. So yeah, welcome to a new project on a 1.2 KA. So we're back on the second day now. It's towards the end of the day because I've been quite busy with work and I've been out collecting parts for the KA. So we're going to do a quick wash now, and it is just going to be a quick wash, get the dirt off it, then we'll get it inside, get it up on the ramp, and then have a look and see if we can fix that starter motor issue. Right, so that's the car all washed down. It's still dripping a little bit, but it's been so wet today. I just wanted to get it inside as quickly as possible before it starts raining again. So, had quite a successful day of doing some shopping. So I've got a new starter motor for it, brand new. Obviously picked up some coolant because we're going to replace the radiator. Got a brand new radiator for it. And I managed to get hold of a bumper. So this one is actually apparently not the right paint code for the car, but it was in really good condition with the exception of these kind of marks on the bottom. The Ford badge is like free from any blemishes or any blistering, and the plastic grille looks really good anyway. This doesn't come with the fog lights, but it doesn't matter because we can just transplant those across. So this is midnight black, and I believe ours is, can't think what he said now, like disco black? Yeah, disco black. But they're both black metallics, and looking under the light I can't really see much difference. Now it could be that when we get all this cleaned up, there's like one part of it looks grey, one part of it looks black, but if I've got to respray that anyway, this bumper was a good buy, and it was only about an hour and 10, hour and 20 minutes drive away to go and pick up. So first thing I'm going to tackle is the starter motor, because you get that horrible sort of sound of it not disengaging properly after you started the car. So let's get the car up in the air and do a bit of investigation and figure out where the starter motor is. And from looking at a couple of quick YouTube videos, there's not really any in-depth ones on how to replace a KA starter motor, just a lot of comments to say it's an absolute ball ache to get out. So let's get that horrible job out of the way, and then we can start stripping down the front end, taking off the grills. I can replace this slam panel. This lower slam panel, I'm going to see if I can straighten it, because it's just got one little ding on this corner, and other than that, and a little ding here, but I think if I hammer those out and respray it, that might be okay. Now in the comments you might think, oh god no Chris, it's been damaged, you need to replace it straight away. And if I can't straighten it to the point where I'm happy, then yeah, we'll just get another one. So let's get started, get the car up in the air. So I found it, and now I can understand why people don't like changing them. Let me show you what we found. Right, so the starter motor is right up there. Make sure I get the light on it. So we're just there. And it's hidden underneath the engine. So if you haven't got a ramp, like me, that'd be an absolute nightmare to change, but I'm fairly certain it's just 3 bolts, and it's going to be a weird angle. I don't think there's anything I can clear from above to get better access, but like everything, let's give it a go, see what we can do. Okay, so I've just taken the new starter motor out of the box just to have a look, and what we've got is a bolt there, a bolt here, and a bolt here. So there's 3 bolts that hold it in. So from the angle that I can see looking up, it's basically like that. So I should be able to get access to the front 2 bolts quite easily and disconnect this the electrical connector of the earth on there. The interesting thing, I'll be seeing how easy it is to get access to that bolt from underneath where you can't actually see what you're doing. So I don't think I'm going to be able to video this, get the camera under there and do the work at the same time. So I'm going to have a go at starting it, and I'll cut back to you guys in a minute, which will probably be in about half an hour of my time, and maybe some swearing depending how difficult it is to take off. Okay, so that has actually been about half an hour. So I started underneath the car and got one of the bolts out, and I just couldn't find the other bolt at all. So I had a look, took the battery tray out, which was quite simple. So there are 2 fixings. So there's a bolt here, and then there's a nut that goes over that bolt there, and then the whole tray lifts out. Had disconnected the battery anyway because obviously we're working with the starter motor, and there is a bolt, I don't know if you can see, just put the light in position, just there. Now that should be the only other bolt holding it in, because when I look back at the starter motor, I'll get it to show you. When I looked back at the starter motor, this is actually just a stud. The little black bit there is just a stud that holds it in place. And then when I looked at the screw thread, this bolt here, there's no screw thread, so that bolts into the gearbox bell housing, and then on this side it obviously goes through the gearbox bell housing into the starter motor. So I'm going to get that bolt out now. Then that means that basically all that's left to take off is the connector on here, which is just a 13mm nut on there. So get that other bolt out, loosen off the starter motor completely, and then pull that out. One thing I have found though, this pipe here that goes into the airbox, I'm guessing it's an oil breather, has actually got a split in it, and there's quite a lot of oil gone down there. So before I refit the airbox, I need to get me one of those. It looks relatively straightforward, it just sort of clips in down there and then goes around into the bottom of the airbox. Oh yeah, and I took the airbox off as well, just to add. Right, let's get the bolt out. So as simple as that, it came out. So I removed that bolt, lifted the car back up in the air, and then it literally just dropped out. One thing I couldn't figure out though, there's like a cover connector that went over this area here, and that literally just slid off. That bolt has never been attached to it, but the bolt does look quite clean, so I don't know whether it's been out, had any work done on it. It is, from the looks of it, the original Ford starter motor. And then obviously we've got our new unit. I have checked them out, they look to be the same shape and dimensions. This one looks maybe slightly more rated, but this car was obviously made in 2009, so the chances that parts have improved since then is quite high. So yeah, so reverse process now, get this back in, get the bolt on the bottom in to hold it in place, then go back to the engine bay and bolt that bit, get the connector back over the top of there. I'll try and somehow video me putting that back in, just to kind of give you an idea, and then we'll go from there. So hopefully you guys can see this. So there's the hole where the starter motor fixes into. So what we've got to do is thread the new starter motor up through here. Oh god, this is hard with holding the camera. The footage might be a bit rubbish, sorry. So up through this hole here. Let me get past all the pipe work. There we go. And around. This cable. Then I've got to move. There's a cable at the top which connects the starter motor, which is in the way. So I need to lift that out. And then get it aligned. Again, I'll try and increase the brightness and stuff, so that slots into place there, and then you find the locator at the top, and we take our bolt, which goes into here. Just get this in finger tight, just so I'm not going to cross thread anything. Okay, it's about as tight as I can do it with my hand. So then this connector, come down again, this connector up here goes back on to the starter, and then our nut goes on the end. So I'll get that all tightened up and come back to you in a sec. Okay, so that nut is now done up tight, and the cover's back on, and the bolt at the top up there where the main power wire goes to it, that's all back up tight. Just double check it, make sure it's not. Yeah, that ain't moving. So that's all done as well. So now drop the car back down, put the bolt back in at the top, connect the battery back up. Oh, sorry. Connect the battery back up, and then give it a test and see if that's fixed our problem. Ah, there we go. Do that. Oh, an extension bar on it. Right. I didn't round the bolt, it just came off at the end. So I'll just quickly check it. Nice and tight. Yeah, that's tight. Right. I'll stick the camera on the tripod and we'll get all this engine bay reassembled. So that's fixed that one. Actually wasn't too bad a job. I think it's just more the fact that if you haven't got access to a ramp, that's not a very easy job to do. So now that the starter motor is all sorted, the next step can be strip down. So I've got to stop moving the camera on the stand because it makes a horrible noise. So the next step, try and source this little pipe that's got oil coming out of it and it's got a split in it. And then I think tomorrow we'll strip down the front end, see if we can tidy this up a little bit, see if it's salvageable, replace the upper impact bar, and then take out the radiator because the new condenser is due to arrive tomorrow as well, so that means I can pretty much rebuild the whole front end. And then we can also swap over the fog lights to our new bumper and get that fitted. So I think that's a great point to end the current episode on the KA. I really do want to put like all the information, all the video footage and everything into one big episode, but I think it would just be too colossal and it would take me longer to get it up. So this episode should be up by Tuesday. Today is Monday, and I've already started episode 2 editing, so that should hopefully be up quite soon, maybe towards the end of the week, sort of Friday time. If you like what you're seeing, hit that thumbs up button. Thanks again for watching, and if you've not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and that little bell notification so you know every time I drop a new video. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.